All right, it is 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started with this mini academy. We are so thankful that you are here, parents and families. We are excited to present to you a session on Be a Parent Hero. Today with us, we have Aaron Kwan, who is first and foremost a parent himself, but he's also a licensed mental health counselor in Florida and has been with OCPS for 8 years. And he has an amazing presentation for you today. So at this time, we're going to hand it off to Aaron.
Well, thank you, Ms. Nicolette, and thank you to all of the parents, all of the guardians that are here today with the Parent Academy in Orange County Public Schools. We are so delighted and we are happy that you all are putting in the time and investing the time into learning more about how you can be a parent hero, which is to help educate, report, and overcome bullying, and how you can help your children and other students to also overcome uh, different situations and different experiences as it relates to being bullied within the schools. Today's agenda is number one, we're going to go through a community builder. Also, we're going to go through the HERO acronym. Again, the title of this presentation is Be a Parent Hero. And the HERO is an acronym. The H stands for help, the E stands for educate, the R stands for report, the O stands for overcome. And as you see on the agenda, we will be able to break all of those words down. And then at the end, we will have an unpack and debrief question and answer segment. So for our learning environment, expectation and commitment, we do ask that everyone shows respectful behavior towards each other within the chat box. I ask that everyone come with a open mind. Also, again, respectful communication and also focus and attention. Let us choose our attitudes. Let's make the choice to approach our learning with a positive attitude. Be present, have time to have fun, and take this opportunity to reflect and share. And also, let us make someone's day today. So, for the community builder, there is a video that we would like to share with you all, and I'll be right back after the video. Hello, parents, and welcome to this important presentation titled Be a Parent Hero. Today, we want to talk about something that affects all of us, and that's bullying. We know that bullying is a complex issue and it's something that can be challenging to address. But as parents, we have the power to make a difference. We can be our children's heroes, and together we can create a safer and more supportive environment for them. That's why we're introducing the HERO framework. The H in HERO stands for help. Bullying can take many forms and can be harmful to our children's mental and emotional well being. As parents, we can help by being aware of the signs and symptoms, supporting our children, and building their confidence. The E within the HERO framework stands for education. Education is key to preventing bullying. We can educate our children by teaching them about respect, empathy, kindness, and celebrating differences. The R within the HERO framework stands for report. Reporting bullying is essential to create a safe environment for our children. By knowing how to report bullying incidents, we can work together with schools to address the situation. And the O within the HERO framework stands for overcome. Overcoming bullying is possible through resilience and seeking support. As parents, we can provide our children with resources such as counseling, support groups, and online resources to help them overcome the effects of bullying. This acronym represents the steps that we as parents can take to address bullying and support our children. By being a parent hero, we can make a positive impact in our children's lives and help them to overcome bullying. So thank you for joining us today. We are excited that you are here. And remember, by being a parent hero, we can create a safer and more supportive environment for our children. All right. So thank you all again for being here and putting in the time to again help your children and students to become resilient and to face some of the challenges that may come about on the school campuses. Another part of the community builder, I want to ask the audience today, those that are joining us, um, how many parents do we have today that has students or children, I should say, within elementary school? If you have children within elementary school, if you can put a one in the chat box. If your child is in middle school, if you could put a two in the chat box. And if your child is in high school, if you can put a three in the chat box. All right. All right. I see some ones, I see some threes. All right. So now we're going to break down the Be a Parent Hero. Again, the hero is an acronym. And we're going to first start on the H. The H stands for help. Bullying can take many forms and it can be harmful to our children's mental and emotional well being. As parents, we can help by being aware of the signs and symptoms, supporting our children, and building their confidence. So, what is bullying? Bullying is an unwanted and aggressive behavior that includes an observed or perceived imbalance of power. So, there is an acronym here that stands for RIP. It has to be repeated, intent of harm, and an imbalance of power for it to be categorized as bullying. Our next slide is in regards to a state statute. It's the state statute 1006.147. It's the bullying and harassment law statute that was given and signed into law in 2008 after Jeffrey Johnston um, uh, passed away due to being bullied on online. Unfortunately, Jeffrey Johnson committed suicide because of the bullying that was taking place. And after his passing, there was a law that was put into place and again signed in 2008, and it's the Stand Up for All Students Act, and it prohibits for bullying to take place on school campuses or again or online. So preventing and addressing bullying in our schools and communities. Want to ask a question briefly. The question is, what actions can we take as parents and community members to prevent and address bullying in our schools and communities? So again, the question is, what action as parents can we take or as community members can we take to prevent and address bullying in our schools and communities? And we can just place those answers within the chat box. And I'll just take a few seconds to receive some of those answers. All right. The next slide is recognizing signs and symptoms of bullying and what parents should look out for. So, what should we look out for as parents when our child is being bullied? Changes in behavior is one. Also, physical symptoms, changes in academic behavior, and social isolation. This is very important because at times children may not initiate the conversation or they may not be ready to approach us as the parent to speak about some of the problems or the challenges within the school campuses. So we have to be able to look for these signs and read the signs and the symptoms before our child or our children approach us. So changes in behavior, is there a change in the way that our children may act at times? Or maybe a physical symptom, especially if it's a physical abuse, for an example. There can be physical signs of that, right? Bruises or scratches, marks. Also, with emotional abuse, you may see a change in regards to a child isolating themselves or not wanting to go to school or not wanting to participate in social interactions. All of these are signs to consider, to unpack with your children, to ask questions, and to be present to hear what they have to say. So be a parent hero. Again, the hero is an acronym. We just went over the H for help. Now the E stands for education. By educating ourselves about bullying and its impact on our children and communities, we can raise awareness, develop skills to intervene and prevent bullying, and promote positive behaviors that support mental health and well-being. So what are the types of bullying? Because of course we hear the term bullying, but there are different forms of bullying. There are different types of bullying. So we have verbal bullying, emotional bullying, physical bullying, and cyber bullying. Physical bullying, for an example. Of course, we know that a child can be physically bullied by another student, and this could um, entail, hits, kicks, punches, someone physically taking something from someone else, someone physically forcing themselves on someone else. This can be an example of physical bullying. Emotional bullying or verbal bullying that can have to do with, calling a student a name. There's a student that's calling another student a name or picking on the student, um, separating from the student, um, and making the student feel less than. This can be a form of verbal or emotional bullying. And then cyberbullying has to do with online. Of course, we know how prevalent social media is today and how much students are on social media, but this also can deal with, texting. There's a lot of bullying that happens, yes, through via social media, but then also texting, emailing. All of this is in regards to cyberbullying, and it's something to be aware of because, again, just because a student is not being physically bullied doesn't mean that they may not be experiencing different types or forms of bullying. Another question I would like to ask today is empowering parents to prevent bullying. This is a reflection on promoting positive behavior and building resilience. And the question is, what strategies can you use to help your child develop resilience and coping skills to deal with the bullying? Again, what strategies can you use to help your child develop or resiliency and coping skills to deal with bullying? And I'll wait a few seconds or a minute to get some of your responses. I see positive self-talk, standing up to bullies, regulating emotions. That's great. Asking questions to get my child talking. All of those are awesome answers. I'll just wait a few more seconds. Encourage my child to speak up for herself. Awesome answers. All right. So the next slide is for report. Again, the title of this presentation is Be a Parent Hero, and the acronym for HERO uh, is for Help, Educate, Report, and Overcome. And now we are on the letter R. So the R stands for report. Reporting bullying is essential to create a safe environment for our children. By knowing how to report bullying incidents, we can work together with schools to address the situation. So, one good way that we can report bullying to our school administration is through Fortify FL. This is an app um, that can be, you can download, and FL is a way that you can report um, anom- you could be anonymous. So you don't you when you report the bullying that's taking place with your child within the school, no one will know where it's coming from, or no one, I should say, no one will know who's reporting it. It can be anonymous. And it's a tool that allows you, again, to get the information to school officials and also uh, law enforcement as well. So a lot of times I experience children being bullied, but again, they may not want to report it. The student or the parent may not want to report it because they may be afraid of the consequences. What if the 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 aggressive bully finds out that they were told on, or what if their parents find out that they were told on? So sometimes this happens, and sometimes the children may be afraid, or sometimes the parents may be fearful to be known. So Fortify FL again makes it anonymous, where no one will know who is reporting the information, but the information again will get to the school officials, who will also get to or can get to the law enforcement. Now, maybe you're saying, well, Aaron, I'm not afraid to report. I don't want to be anonymous. And if that happens to be you, I do um, recommend to go to your school administration. Um, Now, you want to make some documentation for yourself. Again, one of the ways we identify a child being bullied, or I can say a student being bullied, is if it's repetitive, if it's being repeated. So if your child happens to be bullied, um, and if it's being repeated, you want to make documentation of this. You want to record it, and you could do this however you choose. Maybe in a notebook, maybe um, in your phone. Making a note in your phone of the day, the time, the location, the classroom that your child told you where they were at when they were being bullied. So now you have like a trace, right? Like you have some documentation, a pattern that you can show to the administration to say, this is when this happened. This is when my child told me that this has happened, and I've documented this. I've made a note of this for myself to show you all that this is just not a one-time thing. It's happened multiple times, and I would like to speak about it so we can get it addressed. So, you can, again, call your schools. You can speak to your mental health designees. You can speak to a guidance counselor. You can speak to the teacher. You can speak to the administrator, and you can request for a meeting to be held. Um, and you can, again, go to the schools and speak to the staff to make the staff aware of what's happening. Because, again, sometimes the staff doesn't know. A lot of times parents may think that the staff just knows everything that's happening on the campus, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes it goes under the radar. So it's good, again, as a parent to be a hero by reporting what's happening and making others aware of what's happening on the school campus as it relates to a student or specifically your child being bullied. So the next letter in the acronym of HERO is an O, and the O stands for overcome. Overcoming bullying is possible through resiliency and seeking support as parents. We can provide our children with support and resources to help them overcome the effects of bullying. So, strategies for responding if your child is being bullied. So, again, some of the strategies on how to respond if your child is um, being bullied is, again, by the first one, the one that we just talked about a few moments ago, reporting, right, to the school. But as it relates to your children, you want to be present for them, right? You want to be present for them. You want to hear them out. You want them to be able to express themselves to you because they may be coming to you as their parent first, right? Before they go to administration or before they go to um, their teacher, right? Now, there's times, of course, as a parent, we can advocate and we can recommend for the children to go to the teacher, to go to the administration, to tell somebody. A lot of times, again, our children may feel afraid or they may feel timid, they may feel embarrassed, they may be afraid to talk about it to someone. So we want to advocate for them and let them know that it's okay. It's okay um, s- to stand up for themselves by voicing to administration or a dean or a teacher what's happening to them while they are on campus. But as parents, again, let's say if they come to us first as their parent, we want to be present. We want to hear them out. We want to have open ears and active listening so we can understand where our child is coming from. Because again, our children may be confused. They may not understand everything that's happening, but they want someone to listen to them. They want to be heard. They want someone to support them in the process when they're trying to figure out everything for themselves. So a good strategy again is to talk about it. Let's talk about what's happening. As a parent, you may not have the answers in that one sitting. Sitting with your child for the first time, or um, maybe again, if this is being repeated, if this is repetitive, it may not be the first time. But just as an example, if you're hearing for the first time that your child is being bullied, you may not know what to do right then and there. You may not have all of the answers. But again, to be supportive to your child and to give them the safe and supportive space to express and to vent and to talk about what's happening can help you as the parent to formulate the right response, um, the right solution or resolution to the issue and to the problem. And then your child will also feel the collaboration, right? Your child will know that you are there as a hero. You are there to help them and to help them make a solution to the problem, but then to also help support what's happening and what's going on. So let's talk about it with our children. Let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. You may not have the answers right then and there, but the more you talk about it, will help you formulate what has to happen next or what should happen next. And you can allow your child to give the ideas as well. Be a team and collaborate to see what is the right steps to take. Your child may not know the right steps to take. So, as a parent, as a hero, you can also give that insight. You can give that answer to your child and help them to be confident in themselves to approach whoever they need to approach on the campus to receive help. So if your child is doing the bullying, of course, throughout this presentation, we've just been talking about if your child is being bullied, but what if your child is doing the bullying? Reframing the focus from labeling a child as a bully to referring to them as a child with bullying behavior recognizes that there is capacity for change. So, what we've already spoken about could also be related to if your child is the one that's doing the bullying, but specifically, again, what we just mentioned a few moments ago when it comes to the strategies and talking about it. If your child is the bully, or if the school has contacted you or reached out to you and told you that your child is bullying another child, you want to talk about it. You want to talk about it. It again, referring to your child with bullying behaviors recognizes that there is capacity to change because a behavior could be modified. A behavior can change. So a lot of times we like to label the person as the problem. But the person is the person, right? And the problem is the problem. If we identify the problem with the person, then we may feel as if there's no hope for the person to change. But if we separate that, if we make a distinction and say, okay, the person is the person and this is the problem, well, let's attack the problem, right? Let's focus on the problem and not so much of the person because the problem can be changed and the behavior can be modified. So, a lot of times when we look at conflict resolution, if we're only targeting the person, the problem may jump out of the window. And what I mean by that, that's an analogy, but what I mean by that is if I'm saying to my child, well, you're this, you're that, you're so bad, you just need to get it together. You. The problem is not being focused on. The problem is that bullying is happening, right? My child is bullying someone else. Well, let me focus on that because if I'm making the issue or if I'm creating the scenario in regards to my child being the problem within itself, now that's going to make me attack my child in a way that again the actual problem may not be targeted. It may not be focused on. So that's what I mean when I say that the problem jumps out of the window because the problem is not being spoken about. It's just the attacks. And, you know, depending on how old your child is, your child may attack you back. If you're saying you, well, your child may say you back. So now we got two people attacking each other. And again, the problem is not being focused on. So again, let's recognize that the behavior, or let's recognize that the bullying behavior helps us to see the capacity for change rather than labeling or categorizing our child um, as a bully. All right. So, 5 ways parents can help kids build resilience or to be resilient. When your child is defensive or aggressive, help them reflect on the situation to understand what is causing their behavior. Practice role playing, how to handle different problems. This helps children develop ways of handling challenges. Work on solving problems together. Teach your child how to manage stress and find someone to help, like a tutor, a mentor, a therapist, school counselor, mental health designee. Campuses also have SROs, which are the law enforcement that's there. Campuses, of course, have administration as far as assistant principals, principals. Um, so you want to find someone that can relate and that can connect to your child. Someone Your child may already have someone in mind, right? That they know that they like to speak to on campus. You want to advocate for them to connect with that person. Um, of course, a teacher, if I didn't mention that already. Your child and your student can also go to a teacher and receive help in that time of need. So, strategies for responding if your child is witnessing the bullying. What if your child is in school and sees another student bullying another student and it affects them? It creates an impact or leaves them in a um, in a scenario which they are left with negative emotions. Well, you want to reassure them that telling an adult is a positive first step. Share that they can make a positive impact on others. Work together to make a plan that your child is comfortable with, using to respond to bullying incidents in the future. Reinforce that they should never participate in or support bullying. Encourage them to be supportive and kind to the student being bullied, and explain why telling an adult about bullying is a good idea and it's not called tattling. All right, so we do have some resources for responding to bullying. Um, These are some pamphlets that, if I'm not mistaken, there should be like an app. Maybe Miss Nicolette, when she comes back on, can give more clarification in regards to this. But I know that there may be an app that you all may have as parents access to. And these different pamphlets and flyers will be a part of that app where you can download and you can receive some of these worksheets, action plans, and some of these pamphlets that talk about um, the topic of bullying and also summarizes some of the things that we've talked about today in this presentation. So unpack and debrief. A few questions I want to ask as we unpack and debrief of what we have been speaking about today. First question to unpack and debrief is, what were some of the key takeaways from the presentation, and how can we apply this knowledge in our personal and professional life? Going to give a few seconds for some responses within the chat box. Again, this is, what were some of the key takeaways from the presentation, and how can we apply it? How can we apply that knowledge within the personal and professional lives? The second unpack and debrief question is how can we continue the conversation about bullying and work towards creating a more inclusive and compassionate community? Again, how can we continue the conversation about bullying and work towards creating a more inclusive and compassionate community? I see some good answers in the chat box. There's no wrong answers, everyone. There's no wrong answers. Someone said separate the child from the problem, separate the child's behavior from the problem. Someone said we have to be vulnerable and share stories and how bullying affects others so that all involved realize the impact bullying has. Celebrate diversity. I love that. And differences within all kids. I love that. Fortify FL to report anonymously. I love that. Good takeaways. Good takeaways. All right. Well, everyone, we have made it to the end. The end is really for questions and answers. We have a good amount of time left that if there's anyone that has a question, if there's anyone that needs an answer, this is a good opportunity to express your question within the chat box. If you have an experience that you would like for me to commentate, give commentary on, or if there's a question that you need an answer to, um, I am here and I am available. And this is a great time for you to place that in the chat box, and I will do my best to answer your questions. All right, so I see a question that says, I know you said bullying is repeated behavior towards the child. At what point is it appropriate to contact the school to intervene? Great question. Great question. So I would say the point which is appropriate is the first time. Now, bullying, yes, as I mentioned before, bullying is repeated, and it's repetitive. But as soon as again that sign or a symptom of bullying is noticed, we want to um, we want to contact the school or have a contact with someone to make it known. Because again, remember we're making a record, a track record of what's happening. So the first time your child, reports to you as a parent that they were being bullied, you want to report that. You want to make contact because that's going to be a part of your documentation. It's going to be a part of your track record. And as it continues, now we have the track record of when it started, right? So, one good reason on why it's important to report it when it first starts is so we have a starting point. We can always um, refer back to when it started, but also it's about prevention. So we don't want to wait till the bullying gets to 2, 3 weeks. We don't want to wait till it gets to a month later because we also want to put in some preventative measures. So as soon as it starts, as soon as it's acknowledged or identified, I should say, you want to make contact. So one, what that's going to do is it's going to build a track record, but also it's going to put preventative measures in place so the school can investigate, the school can um, do interviews, right? The school could put in a safety plan, and all of this prevents the bullying from going on, and it prevents your child from being bullied repetitively. Great question. Great question. If there's any other questions, please feel free to place them in the chat box. There's no bad questions. All questions are welcome. So I see a question that says, how can the school prevent cyberbullying? That is a great question. A lot of times, cyberbullying, um, I should say, in my experience, cyberbullying takes place a lot on social media, and that is um, the school does a good job blocking social media sites on the school-based internet. When it comes to texting, for an example, emailing, again, the school monitors the usage of phones now and uh, prohibits for phones to be utilized. Um, how can you stop it? I don't know if there's a way to prevent or actually stop it from happening, but it can be monitored. It can be monitored, and also the schools can help as much as they can to keep students off of certain websites that typically are used for bullying or shaming others or posting different things about another student or another child online. Um, so the schools do have their hands on what can be accessed in regards to the internet on the network of Orange County Public Schools. But also, I would like to mention that if cyberbullying is happening off campus, let's say a child is being bullied online on their Facebook when they get home by a student, by a child that is in the school. You want to report that. You still want to report that there is a child that's attending the school bullying my child via internet, via their Facebook, via their TikTok, via their Instagram, via their email. So the school is aware that this is happening online, and the in the because for an example, I've seen in my experience a bully won't do it on school campus at times because they're afraid of getting caught right then and there on school campus. So they'll wait after school campus, right? They'll wait at the bus stop. They'll bully the kid on the bus, which, just to mention, that all can be reported as well. If something happens at the bus stop, if something happens on the bus, you want to report that to the school. The school still has jurisdiction over that. But again, back to that example, Sometimes a bully will wait till they get home and then use social media to send a remark or a comment to another student. Well, that's if your child is being bullied on their Facebook when they get home, you want to take a screenshot of that, right? You want to, this goes back to reporting. You want to create your documentation and you want to show that to the school administration or whoever's your contact is at the school. So the school is aware that your child is being bullied via cyberbullying. And even though it's not on the school campus, the students reside within the school, right? So if the child, your child is being bullied off of school campus, but their bully resides within their third period classroom, well, the school needs to be aware of that and should be aware of that so they can prevent these things from happening or being repeated. Great question. Great question. Is there any more questions? Any more questions? We're winding down. You all have been so great. Again, we appreciate you all for investing your time into learning of how you can be a hero, a parent hero for your child or for your children as they are in Orange County Public Schools. And again, we'll wait a little bit more to see if there's anyone else with any more questions before we wrap it up this evening. Also, I would like to mention to the parent that asked about the cyberbullying. There's another experience that came to my mind. You know, when reporting the cyberbullying is a way of prevention. Because again, that question specifically was how can a school prevent it? So if you report the cyberbullying, again, prevention can take place because of reporting is a preventative measure. So when the cyberbullying is reported, the school can be aware that it's happening, especially when it's on the school network, again, the internet. And when a safety plan is initiated, or a no contact plan, I should say, is initiated for those two students, this can be a part of the no contact plan. That the student should not contact the student that is a bully should not contact uh, the other student via internet. This can be a part of the no contact agreement. Just like if someone was physically bullied, right? And there was a type of physical physical bully. In that no contact agreement, there will be um, parameters in regards to, you know, a physical contact, right? Same way with cyberbullying. Parameters will be placed within that no contact agreement that the bully should not contact the student or your child via internet or via text messaging, via emails. So this is another way that it can be prevented by, again, first reporting it and initiating that contact when it happens, so the school knows the parameters that have to be implemented to prevent it from continuing. All right. Well, again, we thank everyone for joining us. And um, I thank everyone for being here today and being such great participants. And we do appreciate your time. And we hope that um, the presentation was beneficial. And I encourage and motivate all of the parents to be a hero for your children. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Erin. We had a great time during your session, and I can't wait to advocate for my own four kiddos and be a hero for them when they experience bullying situations. I popped Erin's information in the chat box, so in case you're seeking more information or support on this topic, you can reach out to him. You can also contact your school's mental health designee for additional resources. This session was recorded and we will be uploading it on the OCPS Families YouTube channel so you can access the video and the resources that Erin shared at that location. We thank you all for attending and hope you have an amazing evening. Goodbye.